Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day is a great day for FileMaker Training. We broadcast every day at 1 o'clock this time. So it's 1 o'clock for us, but for you, it's probably some other time zone. For some of you, it's early in the morning. For some of you, it's like midnight, but you value the FileMaker, the platform itself. The platform is really quite excellent. People always say, why do you train so much? And it's because two things. One, I learn things from you. Everyone thinks I'm here to teach, but mostly I'm just trying to learn from everyone else. And in the process of me learning, everyone else learns too. It's really exciting. So the platform is amazing. I know it's been around for a billion years. People say, well, you should change the name to blue fireflies or something, some non-trademark name, but everyone knows what FileMaker is. And I think part of our job going forward is to educate people on the new and great things that it does. So we're excited to talk about that. So today's going to be kind of a weird opening Q&A day. We had some other questions that people posted to us. Sometimes the questions that people ask result in us scheduling whole live streams about them because it's a bigger conversation. So I'll outline that a little bit. Before we say this show is live. It's free. We do have to pay the bills. Margaret, we have to pay Margaret. Margaret does our time for free. And so as a result, if you want to support the channel and you're not currently a subscriber, purchase one of our training bundles here. It helps us keep the lights on. We greatly appreciate it. Pivoting forward, Margaret, to our questions that we have for people. So this is a good one. And Margaret actually didn't understand this initially, but I will go through this for some of you. So FileMaker is FileMaker. FileMaker is not your operating system. The two kind of talk to each other, but largely they're not necessarily buddies or friends. And so we have this, like if you go to the starting point or big value, so you've seen it where we have a container, you press the button in the container, and we don't believe, because of all the issues, even Claris tech support has told me this, it's not officially advertised, but the interactive containers are always a problematic kind of disaster waiting to happen. So we set the containers to not be interactive, i.e. they have a static image. Whether it's static or not, it doesn't matter. You just want that setting. And so what ends up happening is that if you open up, you want to see a container like an image or a PDF, it's going to fire it. Mark, can you open up the Chronos just so people can see this? Close that. Just click on the top record right there on the left. It'll drill into the record. Click in there. Okay, so if you at the upper right corner, there's a container, there's an open button and a delete button. So if I press the open button, what it does is it saves the file to the operating system. So the operating system, it kind of forces it on the operating system, saves the file. Then FileMaker tells the operating system to open that file. Okay. Because FileMaker decide that's a kind of an important thing to do. Okay. The question that someone had is that I put a different kind of file in there, right? It didn't matter. I think he said it was an EML file, Echo Mike Lima file. I don't even know what that is, electronic medical records or something like that, or whatever that is, insurance form. And he put it in a container and he told it to open and it wouldn't do it. And he's like, well, how do I make FileMaker open the application? Here's the way this works. FileMaker, when we press the open button over there, it saved the file, 1. 2, then it told the operating system to open the file. It didn't tell the operating system how to open the file because generally FileMaker can't do that, right? I'm just going to say loosely. What happens is that when you check the checkbox and say export the container and open it up, it's telling the operating system to open up the file. The operating system to open a file looks at the extension. If you're a Windows person, you really know this. If you're a programmer for lots of years, you know this. There's a 3 or 4 character extension, or 5 in the case of FMP12. And what it does is that the operating system says, what will open an FMP12 file? What will open a PDF? Those are easy ones. What will open an EML file? Okay. And when you install an application, that during the installation process, that app installing, it registers with the operating system what it can open. So the operating system knows that, hey, there's Microsoft Office in here, or Microsoft Word, specifically. Office is the package, Word is the app. It can open a docx or a doc or a txt or whatever it can allow to open. The operating system then decides, however it wants to decide, what to open. Just now, I don't have Adobe Acrobat installed, but Apple has an application called Preview, which opens PDFs. So the operating system said, hey, FileMaker told the operating system to open a PDF. The operating system said, hey, what do I want to open this with? And first it says is what do I even have available? Sometimes I have an app that can open, like if you have DocX or something, or XLS, XLX, it's Excel. The XML Excel file format, that's a mouthful. Okay. Anyway, the short version like DocX, right? So more than one thing can open a DocX file, more than one thing can open a PDF. So it's going to select it for you. So FileMaker generally is not going to tell the operating system do that. Now you can't do an insert from URL. Some of you have done this where you do an insert from URL to the operating system. You tell an app, if it's installed, to open a specific file. You can't do that. The short version is that it's up to the operating system to decide what it's going to open. And so then another question a person had was, well, I want the operating system to pop open that directory and show it to the user so they can show like if you're ever in like iTunes or whatever they call it anymore, it's the music app on the Macintosh. You can be on a track or a song, and you can right click it and say show in Finder, and it will drill down and find that spot on the computer and show you the actual MP3 or whatever file format that is. It'll show you the actual file on the hard drive. And so they wanted to be able to do that. You have to do it with Apple script. Margaret, did you keep that Apple script? Can you show that on screen if you want to do that real quick?
It is, which file is, it's this one actually.
That's going to let you do that. Yeah. So this is the Apple script right here. This was posted by, I'm not sure who this person is, the comment person. They are prolific in writing questions. This person has 31,500 responses to questions. So that's a hell of a volunteer to help the public. It's really good. So he or she wrote two different ways of doing it with Apple script. Once again, you do an Apple script, it won't necessarily work on Windows. In fact, it most certainly won't work on Windows. So you'd want to do it differently on Windows. Ken says, how does the Finder option compare with popping a card window when the container is displayed usually larger? Okay, so Ken, we talked about this quite a bit. I'm just going to spend a moment here. I want to make sure Ken understands what we're saying. Mark, can you go back to yeah, close that for now. Go back to the Kronos file. If you want to go to the Kronos file, go to layout mode. Okay, go to layout mode, click on the container one at the top, and then go to the right side and down under the data, right panel, right pane, right panel. That's the data. Yep, right pane, right panel. Scroll down, very bottom, and then down there it says images. So those are the two settings there. If you use images, those two are grossly mislabeled. Once again, this is why I had a fight with Claris Engineering. Although I appreciate wrestling with Claris Engineering, because when you're dealing with engineers, generally professional engineers, there's a reason they have an opinion. Claris Engineering has an opinion. I like wrestling with them. I have an opinion, and there's reasons for these opinions. Down below, those are two mislabeled, okay? The top one is non-interactive. The bottom one's interactive. If you have a container can display one of two ways. If you click it to be interactive down below, the container, you won't see it, but magically behind the scenes, it's swapped out with a web viewer. Web viewers are web browsers. How reliable on a day-to-day basis is a web browser to perfectly render something the same way every day and work through updates and stuff? The answer is it doesn't. It sucks. People are always updating browsers, making them better, faster. There's new JavaScript commands, people doing new things. It's like I log into PayPal to move money around and the interface doesn't work because they changed something or it's no longer compatible with whatever version of Safari I have, right? Crazy things go on. I keep telling everyone, don't use the bottom one. Don't use the bottom one. So Hot Air Balloon Ken is talking about if you make the container bigger and use the bottom interactive option, how is that different? The difference is the web viewer, and it's going to work until it doesn't. And then your customer is going to call you on the phone and raise holy hell that their solution doesn't work. And I don't want my phone to ring. People thought I was being mean. I wasn't nice. I was down a month ago at Claris talking to tech support people face to face across the table. And they said, yes, Richard, we hate that thing down there too. We hate it because it frequently will quit working. And then people call us at Claris to complain, and it's an operating system problem. The Claris's only failing was that it should have put a warning below saying it's going to run as a browser and it's operating system dependent. Whereas the top one above is just a thumbnail that they are responsible for. So Claris can fix the bug on the top option, the non-interactive images one. The bottom one's operating system, and it's up to Microsoft or whoever, Apple, to decide to fix whatever issue they've run into. Make sense?
Yeah, I think so. You are referring to putting an interactive container, right, Ken? And not just a regular container, but larger?
Yeah, I mean, you can make the objects bigger, but making the top one non-interactive bigger just makes a bigger thumbnail. If you have the interactive one, it starts doing more interactive. If you have okay, let me ask a question. How much of all these web? Okay, I'm holding my phone up here. This is not my phone, but my watch, my iPhone. This is not my Apple Watch. Okay, this is vastly superior to my Apple Watch. When I get shot at and the helicopter crashes behind enemy lines, this will keep working more than 18 hours. I can still tell the time. The Apple Watch is a tiny web browser, ultra tiny, right? How much can you put on that? So that's a little tiny thumbnail. So if I hold up next, I can't see it, but I'm holding up next to the screen over here, right? Right. But then if you make it really big, the web browser does a lot more, right? If you make it bigger interactively, if it works, then it'll be much better. Once again, I don't want to run the risk of this one day just not working or me getting yelled at. So I make the operating system display it. If you double click it and it goes to Adobe Acrobat and Adobe Acrobat doesn't behave correctly, that's Adobe's problem, right? So it's not your problem as a developer.
Got it. Yeah, I typically show a small version of the container doc on the page, but need to make it bigger to read temporarily, so I've been using a card.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just a bigger thumbnail. All it's doing is generating a bigger thumbnail. And we'll have a updated live stream on that because I'm dealing with Claris on some performance issues with that.
Yeah,
yes.
the open option allows you to scroll through it and actually do stuff to it. So if you don't need to scroll through it or do stuff to it, you just need to see the very first page large then.
Yes. Well, but if you, yeah.
So,
we beat that. That's kind of an old topic, but yes, right. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.